But for Doug, I'm sure he's never going to understand it. Doug Pederson, his career in Philadelphia, congratulations for a great run that ended poorly. But that's where we begin on the 6 o'clock hour. The John Kincaid Show. Bob Cooney, Jamie Lynch, and Pat Egan, and the coach, Eric Camille, at the helm. And Bob, when the news broke yesterday, there are some who were surprised. I was not the least bit surprised. When we were in here doing the show yesterday, we talked about it at the very beginning of the show. 2 men walk in, 1 man walks out. I fully expected Doug to get fired.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at the timing of it, that it happened that quickly. I thought maybe, you have lunch, you talk, you come back, you reconvene for dinner maybe, whatever it would be. So the fact that at 2 o'clock, all of our phones start lighting up saying that he's gone, I was a little bit surprised at that. But no, my initial reaction, and I like when these things happen to see how I feel, because it lets you know. My initial reaction was, okay. Yeah, I think I expected it. And I think it's good for the organization moving forward. I think you can get a better head coach in here.
Are you up in your feelings? Jamie Lynch is an Eagles fan, because there is a nostalgia with Doug Pederson, but yesterday, I thought it was going to happen. It happened, and it was pretty abrupt the way it happened. But I'll tell you this, Bob's saying maybe stick around, maybe do dinner. Dude, if I know you've got the dagger out for me, I got fired over my contract was not renewed, over a chicken Caesar after I got done a show. So I understand, believe me, do not go to eat with your bosses. I think we've learned that lesson now. Do not, Doug Pederson learned it, I learned it the hard way. Do not, when the boss invites you out to eat, it's bad news. It's the last freaking supper.
Yeah.
It is. You're in trouble.
Yeah, it's concerning about the franchise, because only in Philadelphia would the guy that broke a 52-year drought and brought something to the fan base that nobody's ever experienced before, one of the best days of my sports life, can 3 years later he be fired in Florida over tea sandwiches?
I'm assuming the tea sandwiches, by the way. I'm assuming that. But in Palm Beach,
yeah,
I bet there's some caterers that do really nice tea sandwiches.
It's just kind of sad.
Tofu.
That it happened this quick. Nostalgic, Doug's got a special place in my heart forever.
Sure,
and always.
absolutely.
He's the guy. Philly. It's just kind of sad about the state of they're kind of third or fourth now in terms of having it together.
Pat Egan, you've been called to a few meetings with management in your life.
Many, yeah.
Is it over a lunch? Were you ever put on a private jet to go meet with the bosses?
No, shockingly not. I was put on a private handcart, but luckily there was no food served, so I kept my job. Actually, when you started talking about surviving and how people survive in this industry, or in life, I guess you should say.
You said this industry. There's a lot of people who do, believe me.
That really hit home with me, but I wasn't surprised, but yet I was kind of in the same realm as Jamie. I was, when you said that it hit you how fast it happened, that was my reaction. He wasn't even on the plane yet, you'd figure, and it was just out. It was done.
Okay, and that too is where, though, the idea that Doug is the first one out. I think most Eagle fans wanted Howie to be the first one out.
Oh yeah.
They wanted Howie Roseman gone. And Howie Roseman continues to just slide through. He slides through. And Doug Pederson's legacy in this town will be nothing less than complicated.
Yeah, I mean, it's appreciated. And look, I've been the one more than anyone that has questioned his coaching ability, rightfully or wrongfully. That's just the way it is. But I do stand up and applaud him.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. You did something, as Jamie pointed out, that no other coach has ever done here. Hopefully somebody else will do it here before our lifetime is over. But, so for that, applauded, fine. I am shocked at what Jeffrey Lurie said, and I know we'll get into it so much today, about how he just glosses over the job that Howie Roseman has done, and how his decision of getting rid of Doug Pederson, in his mind, in his explanation was, well, he wanted to win this year, and we're looking bigger picture.
Did Doug Pederson, Jamie Lynch, get the result he wanted out of that meeting yesterday?
Yes.
I believe so, too. Everybody, are we all in agreement?
I do, too, yeah.
I think once he won, he realized he was established in this league and he had hand. He was no longer the puppet at the end of the strings.
Oh, he was the puppet.
He was, but when he won, he realized he didn't have to be anymore.
Okay.
And I think that's when the conflict started. He's listening to Howie Roseman tell him this and that, and he's going, dude, I'm a Super Bowl winning coach. Bug off, little finger. You know? And I think that's where it started.
Now, you can, it'd be like cutting a finger off.
Yeah.
Which is really, really hard. You don't want that.
That's why you choose the little one.
Yes.
Yeah, I think when you look at this Doug Pederson situation, he knew that he would have options elsewhere. He'd probably have his pick of the litter for a lot of places, too, because of the fact he has that Super Bowl ring. It's only 3 years removed. So I think when he looks at it, he goes, hold the phone. I'm getting insight from the guy who wanted J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf, and then the owner who gets involved.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm out. Thanks. It was fun, but we'll do this again sometime. Maybe not.
We will interact with you all day long here on the John Kincaid Show at 610-632-0975. 610-632-0975. And we'll have lots more in this story, all the different layers to the proverbial onion throughout the course of the day. Mike in Delran is first up this morning. Mike, good morning. Welcome to the John Kincaid Show.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Hi, Mike.
What's up, Mike?
I agree with you guys. I think Doug got exactly what he wanted out of that. After that first meeting, when Laurie poo-pooed his plans, he thought, you know what? I don't need you. I'm a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And you know what? Fine. Good for both. I think it's going to be good for both him and the organization. As far as Howie Roseman goes, I think Jeffrey Lurie seriously thinks that Howie didn't do that bad of a job. He just thinks Doug doesn't know how to coach these guys. As we said the other day, and we've always said, guys come here, they stink, they leave, and they play better. And maybe Jeffrey Lurie just thought Doug couldn't get it done. Come on!
Maybe he did.
Thanks, Mike.
Maybe he did. I'm going to tell you, I love the
There's
enthusiasm.
validity to that. There's some validity to that. I am not saying at all Howie Roseman has done a good job. But like Mike says, they bring some people in. They don't seem to get better here. They leave, and they seem to be capable NFL players. Why?
Well, here's what I'm going to say, though, is anybody who tells me today the answer is this is better for the organization. We're going to get the coaching is going to get better. We're going to be a better team.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me who the coach is? And by the way, if you tell me that it's a first-time NFL coach, more than half of them fail.
Right.
So,
get ready.
When you tell me that it is a first, we're going to go get this. The coaching's going to be better. It's time. Get Doug out of here. We'll get a better coach. Really?
Well,
You may get Adam freaking Gase.
yeah.
You may be looking at blue eyes.
Can't be that stupid.
They may be looking at blue eyes.
Well,
One blue that way, one blue that way.
It all comes down to, do they want to be the puppet master?
Well, they do.
Oh, yeah,
They do.
and
You
that is
know
the
they
biggest
do.
problem.
And you know they
So
do.
that screams Mike Kafka to me. That screams potentially maybe even a Lincoln Riley and tormenting Carson Wentz even more.
We are getting down to the point that whoever brings Andy Reid his lunch on Wednesdays gets an interview with Jeffrey Lurie.
Basically.
Anyone who had anything to do with Andy Reid at some point. By the way, the Andy Reid tree's been a hell of a lot more successful than the Belichick
Oh,
tree.
yeah, absolutely.
Belichick's
How about
tree's
that?
terrible.
Well,
It is.
do you
Terrible.
think that Jeffrey's already talked to Andy? Because I think he
they
has.
have a relationship.
Yes.
already.
Yes. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
I would think he already spoke to him about
Oh, my
Eric and Mike.
gosh.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
my
all
gosh.
reliable.
It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy because I think they go in with. I think this organization goes in with preconceived notions. They before they ask the question, they already know the answer. They know where they want to end up, and they want to end up with somebody who doesn't have a lot of hand and doesn't have a lot of control. So Wentz and Peterson, two people that we will analyze in Cooney's Corner.
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's Corner.
By the way, Cooney's Corner's growing on me.
Yeah?
It's just the sound of it's growing on me.
Oh, okay.
But who knows?
Just as we're about to change the name, it's
I know,
growing
no,
on you, huh?
It's growing on me. Look, we don't care about anything on this show. Everything on this show is just very temporary. Mm-hmm. We can decide what we like. It could be something tomorrow.
Including Coach?
It could be Cooney's clandestine quarters.
Wow.
You never
Something
know.
crazy like that.
Could be.
Yeah, so today I put out there Wentz versus Peterson. So Carson Wentz came out on top yesterday. There's no question about it. He's here. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think yesterday's actions tell you that. I'm just anxious. What does the locker room think? We saw players. Thanks, Coach. Zach Ertz was one of the first of them. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Doug. All this. I think part of the emotional intelligence, and Jamie, you and I have talked about this so much, about how Doug
Emotional intelligence.
owned the locker room that way, a player's coach. The players really liked him. He reminded us. I think he
He
played.
gave him ice cream.
He played in the NFL, right?
I think he played quarterback.
Okay,
in the
yeah.
NFL,
He gave him ice cream, but Andy Reid gave them tacos, right?
That's true.
Oh yeah, they ate good down there under the Reid and
we know Andy
Pederson
did.
regime. Yeah, but is this good? Is this what like? I'm anxious to think, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it, but we don't do that before a show. Is Carson Wentz going to be able to seamlessly come back and just lead this team now?
No.
Because basically, if you want to look at it, he could be to blame for Doug Pederson losing his job.
He is
It
to blame.
kind of came down to it's either him or me, whether, Carson said that or not. Now, maybe Carson never said that, and it just came down to we have to stick with a $100+ million guy. It's easy to get a coach. You can't find another franchise quarterback. And I even said if you had to move on from one, and I believe you had to separate the two, that I would have moved on from Pederson. But I wonder what the players feel. I wonder if this knocks Carson Wentz down even more in some of their eyes.
Well, we haven't seen, has Carson Wentz slipped any handwritten notes under the desk like a fifth grader? Hey, I like you.
Wow,
Mark
you're
X,
really
Mark
down
X
on
if
him.
you're in. Well, no, because Carson doesn't speak. I don't know grown men that don't speak. I don't know it. By the way, now, we are now at 24 franchises are not playing football.
And all of them have spoken.
23 out of 24, their highest paid player has spoken to the media.
How about that?
23 of 24. It is unacceptable. And yes, Carson Wentz ran him out of town.
Yeah, I don't think there's any real
By
doubt about
performance
it.
or otherwise.
I mean, part of it may be that they were handcuffed by his contract, and they think it's going to be, really tough to move, and they kind of were forced in that regard. But to Bob's point, I do fear what that locker room's going to be like, because I'm sure Doug had his crew. The Brandon Grahams of the world, maybe even a Kelsey, maybe some influential leadership in that locker room.
Well, who
and
doesn't like
Carson
ice
had,
cream?
and Carson had his corner.
Yeah,
So-
we can give Cooney's corner to Carson.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it'll
If
be
Bob
interesting
doesn't
to
want it,
see.
we give it to Carson.
Now, we're also going under the assumption that it's that divided, which I don't know if it is.
It's probably not surface level divided, but in their heart of hearts, the things they don't tell people, they probably have their guy between the two.
Yeah, I mean, look what
Because it's a
Carson's
natural
gone through.
divide now.
Sure, I mean, Carson went through the homage that was put up in the locker room to Nick Foles, right? He's had to put up now with the apparency of Doug Pederson as head coach and he not getting along, both professionally, maybe personally also. I don't know how I'm going to hit on it later in the show, but it's going to be really hard for Carson, I think, to recoup everybody in his corner.
Egan, I take offense with Bob's premise, though. Carson's had to put up with. Carson's had to, people make it out like Carson Wentz, like the Eagles were supposed to ignore what happened when they won a championship, the parts that didn't involve Carson Wentz. Everybody's worried about this man's sensitivity to everything.
Yeah, he's the franchise quarterback. He should be.
Really?
I'm more concerned that you're not.
I'm not.
Yeah, look, it's not the ideal circumstance. The things that he's had to endure throughout his Eagles career haven't been ideal. He hasn't had an easy go of it, and he's played at a high level. And then the straw that broke the camel's back seemed to be when they drafted Jalen Hurts.
What do I tell you about business prima donnas?
Yeah, I don't care about...
I can't stand grown men in the business world, whether it's football, whether it's radio, whether it's business, who think that they're above the fray, think that they are not one of the masses,
Right.
think that they deserve, well, I'm going to follow these rules, everybody else is following these rules. I can't stand that. So I have no respect for this. So Carson Wentz, if you think there's a different narrative, write one of your scribbled little notes, hand it under the table to your to the guys who pick up your dry cleaning for you, and get the message out to the public.
Yeah,
because you're not talking for a reason.
I could care less about his sensitivity, and I've said that over and over and over again. You're here to play football. I don't
Yes.
care about the other things. But there have been some over-the-top stuff. Like when you sit back and think that you get hurt, you have a broken back,
Yes.
and your backup has to play, and one of your teammates is building a shrine to that player in the locker room, like... I'm not talking Sen. I could be the toughest guy in the world. That's a little over the top.
Well, not only that, but you kind of came back way early because of the fact that quarterback in Nick Foles was not playing well. To start the season, he didn't play well. The ideal situation would have been Nick Foles plays really well and it gives Carson Wentz enough time. He came back a month early.
That report sponsored by our friends at Wawa. Okay, one of the best parts about moving home.
I bet.
And Jamie said it to me one day. He goes, bet you like saying that?
Yeah.
Wawa.
I had a sizzler yesterday on the way in.
Craving comfort food? Try Wawa's barbecued brisket. Enjoy brisket on a brioche bun or in a bowl today. Gotta have a Wawa. Remember, the Sixers and the Heat, 7 o'clock tonight. Sixers going up against little Eric Spoelstra and the boys. Plus, the Flyers and the Penguins tomorrow night, 5:30. Be sure to join Devon Givens in the paint after the Sixers and the Heat tonight. In the post, I'm sorry about that. If we need guys in the paint, though, making a few baskets.
Yeah. They're,
you are allowed to take it in the paint and score, right?
Yes.
You didn't like the
That
four.
is allowed. You are allowed to do that. I just want to make sure of that.
You didn't like
Bob,
the 4 combined points from Danny Green and Mike Scott?
So is there any is there something like radioactive about you're allowed to score in the paint, correct? You're allowed to take it all the way to the rim, and you can even jam at home, right?
Yeah, it's 1 point less than if you shoot beyond this big line.
Good. You're gonna coach me up on that. You told me.
Yeah, but 2 is better than none.
Well, it was nice of Danny Green to continue the wonderful Philadelphia tradition of great shooters coming here and forgetting how to shoot. So that was nice.
You want to get in with us on the Doug Pederson story? We'd love to hear from you. 610-632-0975. 610-632-0975. I do believe, though, and I think Doug went into the meeting, and I get the call.
He probably had a tea time for 2 o'clock.
Do you ever have the call with your wife before something's going on at work, or otherwise you're going into a meeting or something like that, and you're like, I have this meeting and I know it's going to be contentious. And then your wife will text you later. I say, how'd the meeting go? I guarantee you, Doug went into that meeting yesterday, Sunday night. He's sitting having probably Wawa on his hotel bed because they have Wawas in Florida now.
Yeah.
And he is probably having Wawa on his hotel bed saying, tomorrow I'm getting fired, and it's exactly what I want to happen.
Probably.
I don't believe he wanted to keep his job. I don't believe he did.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it got toxic here. I think the obvious divide between him and Carson Wentz just became too palpable that you couldn't continue here. Maybe the Howie stuff also was getting on him. And if you could look ahead, if you were Doug Pederson, as Jamie said, he's going to come out as a good guy. He goes in there, he gets fired. Okay, you have a quarterback that you don't like. You have a GM that you don't like. I'm the good guy. I got fired. I'll have a new job by the end of the week.
Jamie, if there's no contract involved, okay, there's no long-term contract with either gentleman, does the organization still choose Carson Wentz over Doug Pederson? If we could take all that guaranteed money out of it.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Do you believe the same result of the same meeting?
It's a great question.
It is that's
if you took the money out of it.
I still think the franchise quarterback, and I do that in quotes because last year was doo-doo, wins out in that battle. But they might just move on from him if it wasn't for that albatross of a contract.
Egan, we can, on a one-time off basis, do the trite, let's throw up the poll question. Look, Levitard's 7 ways to
Wow.
we can, on an exceptional basis.
This is our second now.
Well, it is. It's fine. No, I just said it to you. It's like I knew I was back home in Philly when the first segment of every radio show threw out the poll question.
Yeah.
I knew I was home. I was like, okay, we're home.
We got to see what you think.
See what you think. And by the way, 9% of Americans, 9.5%, by the way, the latest numbers from, I think, J.D. Power, 9.7% of Americans are on Twitter.
That's it?
You're
Yes.
kidding me. Wow.
Yes.
I would have guessed higher.
Yeah, so would I.
9.7% of individual Americans have a Twitter account.
Huh. Have either of you ever been polled? Or Pat as well? Because I've never
That's
been
a rather
polled.
personal question.
Sorry, what?
Can
Can you describe that in vivid detail?
I can't do that on radio, Pat.
Pat, if that is not saved,
Yeah, we'll make that a
leave
drop.
out the bottom of the hour.
Apparently you have.
Yes,
No, I've
exactly.
never been polled.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right.
How was
I'm
it?
not believing it. It's like Stephanie yesterday. I got an email from a gentleman to track down my email, and he's like, okay, what was the whole Stephanie thing about? I said, people were very confused by it. I said,
Tyrell, we got your
asked
back, man.
Tyrell. I said, who is this girl? And he mentioned the name Stephanie. Somebody named Stephanie heard him.
Yeah.
They heard Tyrell.
Somebody texted me and said it's always a Stephanie.
It's a Stephanie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Jennifer's.
I don't even know. Oh, I know one stuff. Jennifer, yeah, that was...
there are Jennifers, though. There were I don't believe any Jennifer was born before 1970.
No?
Not that I ever encountered.
Well...
Jennifers. Pass it.
Yeah.
If there's a Jennifer born in the 60s, their parents were forward thinking.
Is that
J-Lo.
Because every parent in the 60s... J-Lo was born in the 70s, wasn't she?
She just turned 50, right? So,
she was born in the 70s.
I guess maybe 69.
Is that a
70.
poll question?
I
Like
think she
the
was
top-
born
the
in
top
69.
Jennifer.
She was born in 69.
Yeah, way to go, J-Lo.
Jamie,
Trendsetter.
Nice.
I thought that was
69.
I knew that was coming.
Nice.
I knew that was going to come. All right, we got a lot coming up. Why was this person not at this meeting? And I'm trying to figure out whether there is something to read in there. Jamie Lynch will get to it in the linchpin. It's the John Kincaid Show. The phone lines will be open for you all morning. 610-632-0975. If you get by the gatekeeper, we're talking to you here on 97.5 The Fanatic. It's great to be home, and it's great to be able to wager legally on sports. That's why I chose the Parks Casino Sportsbook app. Why? Because I shop local. I love supporting local businesses. And the Parks Casino Sportsbook app is awesome. You can get in on all the action anytime you wish, and it's right in the palm of your hands. We've got games coming out this weekend. How about Green Bay? A little less than a touchdown. 6.5-point favorites over the Rams. A 45.5 over-under number, which is extremely intriguing. Andy Reid opens up a 10-point favorite hosting Cleveland with an over-under of 56 points. The Parks Casino Sportsbook app has got easy deposits, great odds, and outstanding customer service. New customers, sign up now and get a risk-free bet up to $500. Download the app or go to parkscasino.com/PA. Remember to use the promo code FANATIC. See the website for terms and conditions. You can bet with the home team. It's that Parks Casino Sportsbook app, the home team sports betting app. You got to be 21 and in Pennsylvania. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The John Kincaid Show. Wow, getting drunk in the morning on 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia. How would you like to start 2021?